Good morning, citizens. Your overnight account balances have been updated. Time to start a productive day. Final notice, your account balance is below 500. You need 50 credits by the end of the day to avoid automatic eviction. If you have missed work due to illness, you must provide a doctor's note to reclaim your credits.
Any extra credits? Please.
Tensions are high today, with more people planning to join the Citizens Against Digital Control protest. Remember, the government knows who you are at all times. Resisting is not worth the consequences. All of their newest social credit systems are designed to keep you and your families safe and efficient.
Authorities seized a record balance of an individual's credits, citing excessive hoarding.
Traffic violation detected. 7 miles per hour over the limit. 75 credits have been automatically deducted.
You have to be fucking...
Welcome to this live. For those who are gonna watch later, welcome to this live. What is up, everybody? It's your brother Shamar with Ancient Watchmen. You're listening to the Deep Dive. Welcome to Friday Night Miami. For those who are gonna watch later, we ain't gonna dive deep. We're not gonna take too long. Yeah, this matter that I wanna address, I wanna bring out this subject because it's happening right before our eyes. So imagine a system that knows not just where you are, right, but where you're likely to go. A system that can connect your tax records, your social media posts, your health data, your family connections into a single searchable profile. This isn't the plot of a new sci-fi thriller, right? It's a reality being built right now inside the US government. And as we dive deep into this subject, I'm gonna show you guys clips. We're gonna comment on them and talk about them, but this is the reality that we're living. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was a movie back in the day that I watched called The Minority Report. But before I show you that, I want to show you this other movie called Eagle's Eye. Now, in this movie, it's gonna basically show you guys the reality of what's going on today, right in front of our eyes, in real time, live at this very moment.
As your personality. Sector searches and downloaded points of data will lead to this central command.
Your computer.
This is you. This is Jerry Shaw. A series of purchases, preferences, and quantifiable data points that we define as your personality. We monitor every social network, internet logs, instant and text messages, known associates, your friends, companions, emails received and sent, cell phone usage. We utilize security, surveillance, and traffic cameras to analyze movements. We use this data to form personality profiles. We know who you are. We are everywhere.
What do you mean? Why do you keep saying we?
We, the people of the United States. to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense. All programmed options, sector searches, and downloaded points of data will lead to this central command.
Your computer. I got a letter in the mail, basically a warrant.
Now, if you guys, I don't know if you guys seen that movie, but I highly recommend that movie because if you guys know the powers that be, those people that are in control, the 1%ers, the whatever you want to call them, they go by various names throughout the ages, but they always do what we call the predictive programming, meaning they show you what they're gonna do or they show you what they're already doing. And this movie right here, Eagle's Eye, which came out in 2008. I watched it, and back then it was kind of far-fetched, but it wasn't that far-fetched. And now, fast forward in 2025, we can see that movie is taking place in real time right as we speak. And we're gonna talk about the company called Palantir. The company at the center of this build out is Palantir. And over the next 20, 40, or 50, 60 minutes, I don't know how long this is going to be, we're not just going to go and talk about their technology. We're going to map out their power. I'm going to drop out some names, follow the money, and trace the quote unquote, the revolving door that has turned this one secretive startup into a de facto arm of the American national security apparatus. That's what's going on.
Monitor and aggregate your every move, building a complete digital profile of recovery. Health providers determine if your cancer is worth treating. Search results and news feeds are skewed to bias mood and influence your vote. 6.4 billion connected devices now serve as collection points, mapping and recording our daily routines, making a more secure and more invasive system. But who else is listening? Big Brother no longer works alone. Thousands of little brothers monitor and aggregate your every move, building a complete digital profile of you to be bought, sold, or stolen in an instant. Toys study your children, reporting their play habits back to marketers. Appliances, consoles, and home security systems give corporations a window into your private life. Control of your vehicle and mobile device can now be reached remotely by anyone, at any time. You may think that you are immune or underestimate the risk, but your digital shadow is already compromised. Insurance companies use algorithms to monitor your life habits and limit or deny coverage. Health providers determine if your cancer is worth treating. Search results and news feeds are skewed to bias mood and influence your vote. 6.4 billion connected devices now.
Yeah, man. So our digital shadow, our digital print is already out there. They have already created an archive, a digital archive of each and one of you, especially about those who are against the system, those who are in a mindset, with a revolutionary mindset, especially those that are dissidents. Those are the ones that are, what would you call it? Divergence, right? The divergent people. Now, if you guys remember back in the day, there was this talk about quote unquote conspiracy. Now, a lot of the conspiracy theories that were talked about 20 years ago, we were talking about this stuff, we were talking about martial law, we're talking about a digital takeover, new world order, and all these subjects. Back then, it was crazy talk, right? A lot of people didn't believe us, but now in this 2025, we are witnessing the beginning stages of those plans. Back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember when people were talking about that the FBI had a black list, right? They had a black list with names on red ink and blue ink and black ink. And all those various colors is in reference to people that are basically speaking against the system. They're dissidents, divergent people, especially the divergent people. If you guys know what a divergent people are, I encourage you guys to research. But we're gonna connect the dots between a powerful CEO, a billionaire mentor in the shadows, a vice president, and the creation of a domestic surveillance system on a scale we have never seen before. Welcome to live, everybody. Welcome to live. This is, once again, you, Brother Shamar, with the Ancient Watchman. Like I said, we're going to continue to do lives more often. I've decided to come back and help out in the awakening of the people and whatever's going on in the world. You know, this is what we're called to do, to speak truth and share information for people to find out. Yeah, so let's start with a number, right? Like I said, we're gonna connect the dots, and at the end of the day, I want you guys to draw your own conclusions. So we're gonna start with the number $2.9 billion. That's the value of a single contract Palantir won from the U.S. Army in 2023 for its battlefield intelligence system. Now, this system that we're talking about was implemented, or is being implemented over there in in Gaza and Palestine, right? This is what they're doing right now. They're using what we call let me see. I'm gonna show you guys. It's a spyware that is able to. It's a spyware called Pegasus spyware, which is able to pinpoint your location through your phone. They can trace your data on your phone, your posts, your conversations on text messages. They can listen to your voice on the calls that you make, who you talk to, they can basically connect all the dots in between the people you talk to. And so this is the system that was implemented, is being implemented by Palantir, because he made a contract with the United States government in order to do what we call a pilot program. A pilot program is basically like they're dry testing the program live with people. People are dying, bro. Like, I don't understand, where is the international community right now, right? There's people dying, there's children dying, there's women that are innocent, men that are innocent, children dying. Like, it's a complete genocide, right? And a lot of people are getting offended because if you speak on those terms, then you're considered a anti-Semite, which is nonsense, because a lot of those people are not even Semites. But anyways, that's besides the subject. The whole point is that they're using these programs as a pilot program or a dry test in live people right as we speak. And nobody is speaking about it. The international community is quiet. All the nations are quiet. As a matter of fact, many of the influencers in the United States have been speaking about it just recently. Why? Because it's just insane that we are witnessing a total genocide in front of our eyes and nobody's speaking about it.
Can do things on your phone that you can't even do.
It can activate any function on your phone. It completely mirrors it.
Amnesty International reports on a massive leak of 50,000 phone numbers.
I think what the project is showing is the breadth and the scale of the abuse.
At the center of the probe is the Pegasus spyware.
It can look for your cameras. It can also take pictures.
It accesses your messages, your history.
It can listen to what you say, and it can also record you.
So yeah, Pegasus is pretty terrifying.
So what is Pegasus? It's a software created by an Israeli company called NSO Group, and the company says it's designed to track terrorists.
Jamal Khashoggi, a Saudi journalist, was murdered. Several of the people that he was in touch with were surveyed by Pegasus. That should stop everyone and make us think. Cyber weapons are weapons. People get killed. My name is Eyal Weizmann. I am the Director of Forensic Architecture and also a professor at Goldsmiths.
I'm Shuri Molavi. I'm the lead Israel-Palestine researcher at Forensic Architecture.
People think of architecture as simply the kind of the design of objects and spaces, but architecture is a very useful tool in actually mapping human rights violations that are caught on camera.
We use spatial and media methodologies and technologies to investigate state and corporate violence.
We investigate police forces, we investigate the military, we investigate sometimes secret services.
Architects and artists, scholars, researchers, designers, developers, working together on a single investigation.
We worked very often on Israeli colonial violence in Palestine.
Until now, that has mainly involved things like checkpoints, roadblocks, military and police violence against Palestinians.
Today, contemporary colonialism is also digital. You need to control people.
And this is where the NSO group comes in.
The NSO group is an Israeli cyber surveillance company. It has emerged in a context of a whole ecosystem that emerged out of Israeli state surveillance of Palestinians.
Yeah, so that right there, $2.9 billion was the value of the contract Palantir won or got from the U.S. Army in 2023 for its battlefield intelligence system, which is basically a system that is used strictly by artificial intelligence that fly drones into Palestine or the Gaza Strip, and they're able to target human beings and basically drop bombs right on the spot. It doesn't matter if there's collateral damage. It don't matter if there are children being unalive, right? The artificial intelligence doesn't define that. It knows that's the target and that's it right there. So that's the program that they're using right now, and it's basically that pilot program. Now, Palantir was founded in 2003 by Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, with one of its earliest investors being in QTEL, the venture capital arm of the CIA, bro. You guys get that? Like, we're gonna dive deep, okay? And at the end of the day, you guys are gonna find out that this system that they're practicing in human beings in the Gaza Strip with the Palestinians right now live is gonna be brought to various places in the world. You're gonna see later on. You're gonna see. Like I said, we're gonna connect the dots. From its very inception, the company's DNA was coded for intelligence work. Their flagship platform, Gotham, Gotham, was the tool credited with helping intelligence agencies sift through data to find Osama bin Laden. This is the same artificial intelligence they were using back in the day during the Iraq war. Now, you guys know that the United States government has technology that is pretty well advanced, 20 years ahead of the civilian people. So if we have cell phones right now that are digital, that are touch screens, imagine what they have right now. If we're able to access GPT 1, 2, and 3 levels and other, Gemini and all those artificial intelligence, imagine what they have. So they have been ahead of the civilian people for at least 20 years, right? So the real story begins when a tool designed for foreign adversaries starts to be used at home. That's the point that I want to drive in, because all of these, what we're talking about, it's coming home. It's gonna, eventually come to the United States. It's gonna come all over the world, because as we gonna dive deep, the Palantir has made contracts with Europe, France, the UK, obviously the United States, and many other countries where they're going to implement these systems in order to globalize and centralize. That's the word. They're gonna centralize all this information. And once again, you guys are on Facebook, you guys are on Instagram, you guys are on TikTok, you guys are on whatever else social media. And guess what's happening? The CIA, which has made contracts with Palantir, they have been creating a digital archive of everything, every single thing that you guys that we do, the things that we like, the things that we talk about, the things that we post about, our political sides or affiliations, your girlfriend, your wife, your children, they have it all. It's all right there, right? And all of that right there, they're creating an archive which later on it's going to be used by AI, the AI systems through quantum computing in order to create what they call the predictive behavior programming. What predictive behavior programming is basically like they're gonna use all the data that you have from your social media sites, your social media platforms, and whatever, your text messages, your conversations, the things that you watch on TV, the things that you buy, who you talk to. They listen to our conversations. If you guys know, like Edward Snowden, you guys remember that guy? He already told you guys this is why he fled to Russia, right? This is why he's still in Russia, because the United States will try him and will kill him because he spilled all the secrets from the NSA, right? And the CIA, that the CIA and the NSA, they're spying on the American people. This is why they started implementing digital TVs. They started implementing Alexa. They started implementing OnStar on your trucks and your cars so that they can gather information. So that's the reality.
In May of 2025, a New York Times article highlighted the Trump administration's plan to create a centralized database on every single American citizen. Palantir is set to lead the charge. Little is known how this database will be constructed, what technical data will exactly be used. But we do know Palantir representatives have been in contact with two big American agencies, the Social Security Administration and the Internal Revenue Service, who head the two most important government databases in the country. It's important to note how information systems work. One might argue that our data is already in a specific state database, that the entirety of our information is already available to the state at large. This framing is incorrect. It presupposes that the state is a single entity, able to executively access specific data at will. Information systems are much more fragmented, and that's on purpose. The Social Security Administration will not have access to the same data as the Department of Health and Human Services. It's the centralization that changes everything, and the horror of this conundrum is twofold. The state now has unfettered access, a single executive database to pull from. And now, it's not just the state. A third party and private entity, Palantir, owns the keys.
I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country. Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
All of this was under the political banner of efficiency. Trump's administration wanted to stop fraud, waste, and abuse by eliminating information silos through the process of, quote, removing unnecessary barriers to federal employees accessing government data and promoting interagency data sharing are important steps towards eliminating bureaucratic duplication and inefficiency while enhancing the government's ability to detect overpayments and fraud. The efficiency was made possible by tearing down the legal, privacy, and data protections in place to protect American citizens from third parties. And the Trump administration handed the keys of our most sensitive data to one of the most sophisticated data organizations in the world. But you may ask, for those of us around the world, for those of us who don't care about data integrity, what does this mean for us? Well, it means everything, because everything is at stake. Information is a currency far greater than the dollar or any tangible asset. It allows for the prediction of that very everything. And Alex Karp understands this.
with them being the winner of the world, because if they're winning, it means that other people are losing. What do you think of that?
I don't think in win-lose. I think in domination.
Like I said, they have worked on these for a while. They've been planning this for a whole decade or whatever, or more than 2 decades. A lot of people, Alex Jones, a lot of people were talking about this way before. People were killed because this information came out prematurely back in the day, and a lot of people were called tinfoil hat people and whatever. We were called names back in the day, 20 years ago. And now all this information, it's just coming out to the light, and it's coming to the, it's like prophecy that was fulfilled. Now, I'm gonna give you guys my personal opinion. Like when Dodge came in, remember? Hold on, give me a minute. Yeah, when Dodge came in with Elon Musk and downloaded all the data of all the citizens of the United States, guess who he gave it to? Yep, Peter Thiel, right? Why? Because Peter Thiel has been making contracts with the CIA in order to create a global database of every single American that is going to be fed into the artificial intelligence to quantum computing, so that once again they can create a digital archive of ourselves. Anyway, so I was saying that we're gonna do the connections, we're gonna do the names, we're gonna do the money numbers, and the first critical connection is the Thiel Vance nexus, right? Peter Thiel in connection with J.D. Vance. Now, J.D. Vance back in the day, he was against Donald Trump. I don't know if you guys been following politics, but I have. So J.D. Vance was basically going against Donald Trump for a while. He even said that whoever voted for Donald Trump it's stupid. Now, guess who he is? He's the VP of the MAGA regime under Donald Trump. So Peter Thiel, Palantir's co-founder, isn't just a businessman. He's a political architect. He was the primary mentor and major financial backer of J.D. Vance long before Vance became Donald Trump's vice president. According to reports from Politico and the New York Times, Thiel was a key voice in the room, urging Trump to select Vance as his running mate in 2024. Let that marinate in your heads, right? This isn't just a casual endorsement. It creates a direct, informal channel between Palantir's leadership and the second highest office in the country. But the formal channels are just as telling. Let's talk about the revolving door, right? Like I said, this is a revolving door between the CIA and Peter Thiel and a bunch of other contracts that he has with other governments all over the world, mainly the European countries. Like I said, I'm gonna drop some names, and I want you guys to go and research for yourself, because it's all connected, right? If you connect the dots, you're gonna find out that everybody at the top of the MAGA regime and Donald Trump and everybody that's under him, they're all connected for a single purpose, which is to bring a surveillance state. That's their main goal. Their main goal is to create a surveillance state so that they can control who is a dissident, who is a diversion, so they can persecute them. And it's basically like what the movie, like I was telling you earlier, the movie called Minority Report. If you guys haven't watched that movie, Minority Report is basically what Palantir is trying to do. Why? Because Palantir what he's trying to do is he's trying to gather all the data from yourself, from your social media platforms, your conversations on Facebook and Instagram and text messages, on your phone conversations, your family members, everything about you. They're gonna create an algorithm in the form of an archive, and once they can create an archive, the AI systems, right, the artificial intelligence through quantum computing is gonna be able to say, oh well, this guy is gonna be a murderer, or this guy is gonna be such and such, and arrest them before that happens. That's basically where all this is headed.
Okay, Jed, what's coming? Double homicide, one male, one female. Killer's male, white, 40s. Set up a perimeter and tell them we're en route.
I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks.
Give the man his hat.
The future can be seen.
All we have to run on are the images that they produce.
We see what they see.
There hasn't been a murder in 6 years. There's nothing wrong with the system. It is perfect. I agree.
Murder can be stopped.
Tell me exactly what it is you're looking for.
Flaws.
You ever get any false positives? We are arresting individuals who've broken no law.
But they will.
The fact that you prevent it from happening doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen.
The system can't be wrong.
You say something, Chief?
No. You're in a lot of trouble, John. I have a warrant in my pocket that says murder.
Don't run.
You don't have to chase me.
From 20th Century Fox.
He set me up. He set me up.
And DreamWorks Pictures.
Who's the victim? I've never heard of him, but I'm supposed to kill him in less than 36 hours.
He's coming here to get her.
Tom Cruise.
I need your help. If you contain information, I need to know how to get at it.
Yeah, this is basically what's happening. This is where we headed right here with Palantir's technology and algorithms from the AI systems that they're gathering from all of us. That's the reality, man. I mean, I don't know. It's like people don't want to really see that. They call us what they call us. They call us conspiracy theorists and all this other bullshit, but all this stuff is already happening, right? So now, like I said, Jacob Helberg, Helberg. Until recently, Helberg was a senior advisor to Palantir CEO Alex Karp. Now we're gonna find out about Alex Karp, right? In a minute later. He sat at the right hand of the company's leader. In the current administration, which is Donald Trump, under Donald Trump, Helberg has been nominated to be the coordinator for economic policy and trade at the State Department. This is a senior diplomatic role. So imagine the problems with that. From advising the head of a surveillance company on business strategy to shaping U.S. economic policy abroad, the line between corporate and state interest has all but vanished, right? And Helberg isn't alone. Gregory Barbascia, Palantir's former head of intelligence and investigations, was hired as the federal chief information officer, giving him oversight of the government's entire IT structure. You see that? You see how they're basically taking over the entire government? The systems, the very systems his former company now sells to. You see that? So all these connections, all this infiltration into the United States government is basically a soft coup, right? That's basically what's going on. And from there, they can implement all these systems in order to bring about what we call the New World Order, in order to bring about what we call the Agenda 2030, which is basically another subject in itself. So, all right, so now we're going to move to the next second key data point, right? We talk about the $2.9 billion that Palantir made as a contract with the United States government and the CIA. Now we're gonna move to our second key data point, which is ICE, right? The Gestapo that is basically terrorizing the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans right now in various cities in the United States, right? They're basically like deputized white nationalists, MAGA, white supremacists going around uh, basically profiling brown people. If you speak Spanish, if you look indigenous, if you look brown, if you look black, if you look dark, if you don't look white with blue eyes and blonde hair, then you get stopped. Even if you're a citizen. So this is the Gestapo. This is the personal military might by Donald Trump. And Kristi Noem is enabling these injustice and unrighteous acts, unconstitutional acts being done by this administration. So ICE got a $30 million contract. In April of 2025, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, signed a $30 million contract with Palantir to build a platform to track migrant movements in real time. This is part of a broader push, reportedly through Elon Musk's new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, to create a master immigration database to speed up deportations. Now, this is the excuse. Just like we're gonna look out later what's going on in the UK, which are using the same excuse, using the same systems in order to track on the so-called immigration problem. Why? Because they're using the immigration problem, quote unquote, the immigrants, in order to establish these unrighteous and unconstitutional things that are later gonna be established fully in the whole world. Now, watch this, right? Because this is what's going on. It just gets deeper and deeper, and it's just crazy.
An Israeli surveillance company is on its way to the U.S. Here's what you need to know. As of this week, a U.S. investment firm has acquired the Israeli spyware firm Paragon. Paragon was founded in 2019 by a group of former Israeli intelligence officers and was backed by the then Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Now, it was created as a direct competitor to the digital surveillance provider NSO Group, another Israeli firm. NSO's claim to fame was their proprietary software, Pegasus, which was capable of remote, zero-click surveillance of smartphones. Now, little is known about the functions of the newly US-acquired Paragon, but its competitorship with the Pegasus software should raise some alarms. Paragon's product claims to give police the power to remotely break into any encrypted instant messaging communications like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Signal, and even Gmail. But let's examine why the timing of this purchase is also concerning. It is no coincidence that the timing of this purchase aligns perfectly with the timing of NSO Group, which does operate in the United States, losing its lawsuit against Meta for surveillance activities. NSO Group was just found liable for hacking and breach of contract in an event that allowed the surveillance of 1,400 people, including journalists, human rights activists, and dissidents. And now, conveniently, at the exact same time, a competitor with much more secretive operations has just been brought to the U.S. Now, the U.S., for its part, denied that the government had any involvement or approval of the sale, despite reports from Israeli media that say otherwise. Those reports, however, do in fact say that the deal was secured with both the U.S. and Israeli military approval. The purchaser of Paragon, however, was AE Industrial Partners, one of the government market's most active private equity firms. Its core markets are national security, aerospace, and industrial services. It holds many government contracts and recently expanded its presence in DC. So you can absolutely bet that our politicians and government defense contractors are well aware of this sale. This purchase is just another way to get around the liability that the NSO lawsuit created, and another way for the US government to unethically monitor us as Americans without our consent or knowledge.
But the domestic surveillance ambition is even broader. According to investigations by news outlets like The Intercept, Palantir's Foundry platform is now being used in at least 4 major federal agencies, including the Department of Homeland Security, NSA, and Health and Human Services. The goal? To compile a massive cross-reference database of all American citizens. You see that? That's the main goal. Like I said, they're trying to get they're trying to create a digital archive. We're talking about integrating data from your tax returns from the IRS, your student loan debt records from the Department of Education, your social security information, and even your medical claims. These were once separate silos of information. Palantir is building the bridges between them, right? An ACLU report highlighted the danger AI platforms like Palantir's are the key to pulling together the many data points the government has on each of us. Your political donations, your movements, your benefits could someday be a single click away for dozens of governmental agencies. See that?
Can do things on your phone that you can't even do.
It can activate any function on your phone. It completely mirrors it.
Amnesty International reports on a massive leak of 50,000 phone numbers.
I think what the project is showing is the breadth and the scale of the abuse.
At the center of the probe is the Pegasus spyware.
It can look for your cameras. It can also take pictures.
It accesses your messages, your history.
It can listen to what you say, and it can also record you.
So yeah, Pegasus is pretty terrifying.
So what is Pegasus? It's a software created by an Israeli company called NSO Group, and the company says it's designed to track terrorists.
Jamal Khashoggi, a Saudi journalist, was murdered. Several of the people that he was in touch with were surveyed by Pegasus. That should stop everyone and make us think. Cyber weapons are weapons. People get killed. My name is Eyal Weizman. I am the Director of Forensic Architecture and also a professor at Goldsmiths.
I'm Shuri Molavi. I'm the lead Israel-Palestine researcher at Forensic Architecture.
People think of architecture as simply the kind of the design of objects and spaces. But architecture is a very useful tool in actually mapping human rights violations that are caught on camera.
We use spatial and media methodologies and technologies to investigate state and corporate violence.
We investigate police forces, we investigate the military, we investigate sometimes secret services.
Architects and artists, scholars, researchers, designers, developers, working together on a single investigation.
We worked very often on Israeli colonial violence in Palestine.
Until now, that has mainly involved things like checkpoints, roadblocks, military and police violence against Palestinians.
Today, contemporary colonialism is also digital. You need to control people.
And this is where the NSO Group comes in.
The NSO Group is an Israeli cyber surveillance company. It has emerged in a context of
So, right? So who's the architect behind it all, right? Which brings us to our third key figure, Alex Karp, K-A-R-P, the enigmatic CEO of Palantir. Karp is the public face of this operation, a man with a PhD of social theory who speaks in philosophical terms about a clash of civilizations. He openly states that Palantir has, and I quote, consistently pro-Western view that the Western has a superior way of living. He frames his work as a moral imperative to ensure Western technological dominance, particularly over China. But here's the profound contradiction. The tools he sells in the name of defending quote unquote Western values, tools of mass surveillance, predictive political and data fusion, are the very same tools that have historically eroded the civil liberties and privacy rights that are the bedrock of those values. Karp denies that Palantir surveils Americans, which is a lie, because Edward Snowden already said that the NSA has been spying on the American people for decades. Karp denies that Palantir surveils on Americans, calling such claims as "quote unquote" ridiculous. But when your software is the engine inside ICE's deportation machine, and is fusing the most sensitive data the government has on its citizens, the semantic difference between quote proving the tool end quote and conducting the surveillance end quote becomes dangerously thin.
Karp is loving it.
Disruption, in the end of the day, exposes things that aren't working. There'll be ups and downs. There's a revolution. Some people can get their heads cut off.
That's Karp right there.
It's like we're expecting to see really unexpected things and to win.
And what is winning, according to Palantir?
That's Alex Karp for everybody to know,
Turning to government, we continue to advance our mission of becoming the U.S. government's central operating system as we extend our footprint across defense, healthcare, and civilian agencies.
The government's operating system. They want everything to funnel through Palantir. Palantir already has contracts with the IRS, going through taxpayer data to save auditors time by finding the easiest audits to pursue. Now, Wired reports, DOGE will likely hire Palantir to create unified software for the entire IRS, a mega API that would allow anyone with access to view and possibly alter all IRS data in one place. That's all of your financial information. And they have multiple contracts with the Department of Health and Human Services, including nearly $100 million to support HHS's core administrative data and applications, to manage, ingest, and access data securely across business domains. HHS's core responsibility is Medicare and Medicaid. That's control over millions of Americans' health records and their access to healthcare. So what does it mean for one contractor to have all that power, data, and taxpayer money as profit, especially as AI gets involved?
As we kind of increasingly live in a simulated world, we lose touch with reality and the human decisions that matter, and we move closer towards governance by algorithm. Not only made by decisions of automated artificial intelligence systems, which is a problem, but more importantly, subject to decisions made by the people who are influencing these AI systems and creating them in order to fulfill an agenda for whatever their profit-seeking or control-seeking objectives are. And when I see DOGE kind of going into every agency and addressing the IT department first, I see it as an opportunity to try to change reality itself.
So let's recap the connections we've laid bare earlier, right? We talked about the 2.9 million, 30 million for ICE, all through Palantir. The political connection. Peter Thiel, Palantir's co-founder, is the mentor to Vice President J.D. Vance, creating a direct line of influence. The revolving door with the CIA, the military complex of the United States, and many other ones in Europe. Key Palantir executives like Jacob Hellberg and Gregory Barbashia have moved directly into powerful government jobs, shaping the policy and the infrastructure the company profits from. The intelligence pedigree. The company was born from the CIA funding, and its technology is deeply embedded in the intelligence community. The domestic system. through contracts like the $30 million contract with ICE deal and the integration of Foundry across agencies, Palantir is building the backbone of a domestic AI surveillance state. This isn't conspiracy theory. It's a business model. It's a fusion of corporate and state power, facilitated by a revolving door and justified by a philosophy of technological supremacy. The story of Palantir is a case study in the 21st century power. It forces us to ask a very comfortable question. In the name of security and efficiency, are we quietly building an infrastructure that could, in the wrong hands, or perhaps even in the current hands, fundamentally alter the relationship between the citizen and the state? The all-seeing eye is open and is looking directly at us.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
You know, all these systems are gonna eventually spread out to the whole world, and digital systems are gonna be implemented. You're gonna have a digital archive of yourselves, especially if you are a dissident, if you are a divergent, if you have a revolutionary mindset against the matrix, against the system. We are gonna be targeted. There is such a thing as the targeted people. If you guys go online, look it up. It's called the targeted people. Lots of government agencies are targeting people that are, you know, they call us hippies. They call us all sorts of names. But one thing in common is that we are divergents of the system. We are the glitch of the system in this world. Right, because we don't like slavery under these systems. These systems are slavery. These are systems of slavery and oppression of the mind and the spirit and the body. So this is what's going on, and it's coming to America as well.
I'm announcing today that my administration will lead an international effort to enforce biological weapons convention, which is going to be meeting with the top leaders of the world by pioneering an AI verification system that everyone can trust. Hopefully the UN can play a constructive role, and it will also be one of the early projects under AI. Let's see how good it is, because a lot of people are saying it could be one of the great things ever, but it also can be dangerous, but it could be put to tremendous use and tremendous good, and this would be an example of that.
Yeah, so that's basically what's going on. It's gonna happen in America. It's happening in Europe already. They're implementing the real ID because of immigration, but that's just the excuse. They're gonna use the excuse of immigration in Europe, and this is why UK, the Prime Minister of UK, is implementing the real ID in order to control the people. But that eventually is gonna wash over to the rest of the people and the rest of the world, and then eventually it's gonna be like what we have been saying, what a lot of people have been saying, which is the New World Order.
England, remember when I warned about Palantir's involvement with US medical records and basically all of our other records? It's not just the US. Palantir holds significant contracts in the UK. This includes a £330 million deal to manage the NHS's federated data platform. This platform centralizes patient data across England, all under the management of a company that is known for its work with US intelligence agencies and It's important to pay attention to this. Is it a coincidence? Maybe, but in this political climate, I doubt it. We're watching a global pattern of consolidated data, privatized surveillance, all with bipartisan complicity. Always starting with the efficiency argument. But again, here's the kicker, no public consent. These patterns matter, and it's about who controls our data, our important information that makes up who we are, that shows the government who we are. It's about how this data is used. It's all getting very Minority Report.
Anyway, so this has been the deep dive that I was telling you guys about in the very beginning. If this topic concerns you, we encourage you to look at the reporting from sources like the Intercept, Routers, and the ACLU. Stay curious and stay informed.
They take from us, they will ultimately abuse to the maximum extent possible. Number 3, to a weaker position. That's why we need to resist today. What we're seeing today is what I call turnkey totalitarianism. They are putting in place all of these technological mechanisms for control we've never seen before. It's been the ambition of every totalitarian state from the beginning of mankind to control every aspect of behavior, of conduct, of thought, and to obliterate dissent. None of them have been able to do it. They didn't have the technological capacity. Today, the mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide. Within 5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low-orbit satellites. Bill Gates says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. Digital currency that will allow them to punish us from a distance and cut off our food supply. Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates. It will make you a slave. And what do we do about this? What do? We resist. I'm going to tell you 3 rules you all need to know and memorize. Number 1, every power that government takes from us, it will never relinquish voluntarily. Number 2, every power they take from us, they will ultimately abuse to the maximum extent possible. Number 3, nobody in history of the planet has ever complied their way out of totalitarian control. Every capitulation is a signal to the oppressors to impose new forms of torment or torture or compliance or obedience. Every time you comply, you get weaker. Bullies cannot be appeased. It just encourages them to new forms of torture and torment. Every time you say yes, you're getting pushed back to a weaker position. That's why we need to resist today. What we're seeing today is...
So, where does this leave us? We have followed the digital breadcrumbs. We've met the players, Alex Karp, the philosopher king of this new domain, Peter Thiel, the shadow architect whose influence reaches the desk of the vice president, and the lieutenants like Jacob Hellberg, who have seamlessly transitioned from corporate boardrooms to the halls of the State Department. We've seen the architecture being built piece by piece. The 30 million contract with ICE to track human beings, the quiet integration of platforms like Foundry into the arties of our government, fusing your tax data, your student loans, your health information into a single searchable profile. The connections are not theoretical. They are documented, they are financial, they are personnel. And it all leads to a single unsettling crossroads. This system was born in the shadow of 9/11, baptized in the hunt for terrorists, a necessary shield, we were told. But a shield can also be a cage. The very same technology used to find a fugitive in a foreign cave can be used to predict the movements of a protester in an American city. The algorithm used to analyze battlefield drone footage can be turned into to assess the risk of an immigrant family. The most intriguing part of this entire story isn't the technology. It's the ambiguity. Is this the ultimate tool for national security, a sophisticated shield protecting the West, just as Karp proclaims? Or are we witnessing the slow, methodical construction of the most efficient panopticon in human history? A system where the walls are made of code and the bars are invisible, woven from our own data? You're not just listener to this story. You are a data point in its database. Your life, your routines, your relationships are the raw material. So I leave you with this final thought, not to provide an answer, but to ignite a question that should linger in your mind long after this podcast ends. When the all-seeing eye is built by a private company, funded by public contracts, and directed by a political agenda, who truly is the master it serves? And who ultimately is the subject being watched? The system is live. The only thing left to decide is what you choose to see. All right, everybody, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. If you guys want me to speak about other subjects, let me know. Drop your comments. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Good night.